Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Afriscope TV. This show seems to be impromptu. Where, we're just gonna keep it real. Today, I want to talk about a very important and sensitive topic: the struggle of kids from impoverished backgrounds and how society exploits and tries to alienate them. And I also want to talk about the responsibility of parents who do not plan before having kids and think children are gifts from God, but yet still incapable of taking good care of them. So let me just give you a bit of a background into why I chose this topic for today. It's whenever there is poverty, the people who are most likely to have the um, to be hit hardest by poverty are kids. Unfortunately, these are innocent souls who knows nothing. Yeah, they know nothing. They know nothing about economics. They know nothing about finances. They know nothing about the world. But yet still, they are the ones that experience the hardest part of the poverty. The diseases, the famine, it actually affect kids easily because they haven't stored much of nutrients capable of surviving even the slightest famine out there. And I look into my past and I realize that the past is not far from now, you know, or the past leads to the future. So definitely the same people who have been through the struggles and the anguish of the past are the same people that are gonna be for the future. So what are we creating? What sort of society are we creating when people are not living the life that they needed to live? They are not living, but they are just surviving. They are just trying all sort of means to survive. So Um, that was that's the main reason for this topic in the first place. First of all, let me say that I have nothing against poor kids or poor people in general. I know that poverty is a complex and multifaceted problem that has many causes and effects. I also know that many poor kids are smart, talented, hardworking, and resilient. Of all, they have dreams, aspirations, just like anyone else. They deserve respect in all and dignity, not pity or contempt. So let me repeat myself again. I am not making this show to promote pity and contempt. I am actually making this show to promote respect, responsibility, and dignity of humanity. That's the main reason I am making this show today. However, I also want to acknowledge the harsh reality that many poor kids face every day. You know, they have to deal with a lot in their life. Of course, let me start mentioning them. They have these poor kids have to deal with hunger. They have to deal with malnutrition. They have to deal with disease. They have to deal with violence. They have to deal with abuse. They have to deal with neglect. They have to deal with discrimination. They have to deal with stigma. And sometimes, but more importantly, they also have to deal with poor families or poor familial background. They have to deal with poor communities. They have to deal with war because whatever I've just mentioned right now are mostly prevalent in low income, impoverished communities, countries where there are wars and famine. So I want to take this moment to say a big shout out to people who are going through a lot right now across the continent of Africa, especially the Congolese and people who are fighting to restore a just and equitable society in the Sahel region. Of course, the people of Congo and the children of Congo today, as I'm talking, some of them might actually be digging the ground for minerals. Some of them might be doing all sorts of things to survive in a country where there are vast amounts of resources but yet still impoverished on purpose. Anyways, I digress. So, talking about the harsh realities that many poor kids face every day, I mean, dealing with anger, malnutrition, disease, violence, sorry, violence, abuse, neglect, discrimination, and stigma. Now, they have limited access to education, healthcare, and when I say giving limited access, I'm underestimating it. Poor, they mostly have poor education and sometimes limited access. Poor quality education is is one of the main factors or the contributing factors to even the poverty that will transcend into the future. Now they have limited access to healthcare, poor sanitation, and other basic services. They have fewer opportunities and resources to develop their skills and potentials. Of course, that's one of it. As I'm talking right now, a lot of people, even youth across the continent of Africa, are finding means and ways to live to so-called haven of opportunities where they can get the jobs and look into their future and take good care of themselves. So it's now more about survival. Now, talking about fewer opportunities and resources to develop their skills and potentials, let me also talk about how poor kids they have to cope with stress, trauma, and insecurity. They have to fight for their survival and dignity. Doesn't this sound more like an animal zoo or a zoo? Even the wildest form of zoo, unimaginable, right? So these challenges, these challenges I'm talking about right now, can have a lasting impact on their physical, mental, emotional, and social development. Studies have shown that poverty can affect the brain structure and function. Numerous studies, not only one, have shown that poverty can affect the brain structure and function, impair cognitive abilities, lower academic achievement, increase behavioral and emotional problems, and reduce life expectancy. Poverty can also affect personality, self-esteem, motivation, and values. Isn't that big of a problem affecting kids? Are these problems I'm just mentioning poor brain structure and function, impairments of cognitive abilities, low academic performance, increased behavioral and emotional problems, and reduced life expectancy? Are these not much for children? Are these not much? Because listen to this carefully. You don't even know because these kids are they don't have the mental ability to even process what is happening to them. It is just happening, and they are just experiencing it. Some poor kids manage to overcome these obstacles and achieve success in life. Of course, they do. Some of those poor kids might grow up to adult to become successful, and some of them might be happy to come across my audio and listen to them. And that is why I'm making it that we can share this news and come to the aid of poor kids before our society goes down the drain. You know, the poor kids, they are expected to be comparable to any other kids, but they don't have what it takes to be comparable to those kids. You know, they are the exceptions. You know, let's talk about the exceptions. We have exceptions that I've just mentioned right now. That some of these poor kids manage to be substantial, prominent people, or well-to-do people in our society. Some of them overcome these obstacles and achieve success. But these are just exceptions. They are just a few exceptions. And let's not overemphasize those exceptions to in order to neglect the the larger statistics here or the larger number of kids out there going through this suffering. So let's always remember exceptions are not the rules. Exceptions are not the rules. If I am here to talk about the exceptions, I would have started by talking about poor kids that ended up to be rich. So let's not, because I know it's very common in African society or around the world that we overemphasize the exceptions and forget about the bigger job to do on the ground. That is uplifting people from the poverty, young kids, saving them from poverty. Now, talking about the exception and not the rule, there are some poor kids that end up having a very strong support systems, positive role models, and lucky breaks. They are the ones who have the courage, determination, and perseverance to pursue their goals. And of course, they are the ones who have the hope, optimism, and gratitude to appreciate what they have. And these poor kids are the ones who have the compassion, generosity, and humility to help others in need. And I'm one of them. I'm not going to make this show and make it look like a futuristic thing. I'm one of such people. Okay? These are some of them that end up being good. They have the best support system, they have the perseverance, they have the determination, and of course, I talk about having a strong support system, having a good role model, having the lucky breaks. These are the ones that end up to be the prosperous, the successful. Yes, the few that end up to be the exceptions to the rule. But many poor kids do not have these advantages. They are the ones who fall through cracks, who get left behind, who give up on their dreams. They are the ones who become bitter, angry, resentful. They are the ones who develop unhealthy habits, attitudes, and behaviors. They are the ones who tend to crime, violence, drug, of course, drugs, not even drugs, and alcohol. They are the ones who end up in prison, homeless, or dead. Let me repeat again. There are many poor kids who do not have these advantages I mentioned about. And they are the ones who fall through the cracks, who get left behind, who give up their dreams. They are the ones who become bitter, angry, and resentful. They are the ones who develop unhealthy habits, attitudes, and the behaviors that society classifies as antagonistic. They are the ones who tend to crime, violence, drugs, and alcohol. They are the ones who end up in prison, homeless, or dead. This is not only a tragedy for them, but also for society as a whole. Society loses the potential and contribution of these kids. Society pays the cost of their problems and crimes. Society suffers the consequences of their misery and despair. The poor kids that you neglect, the poor kids that you give birth to, the poor kids that you don't want to look at twice, the poor kids that you take advantage of and exploit. This is what they go through. And this is what our society gets back. Society pays the cost of their problems and crimes. Society suffers the consequences of their misery and despair. So what can we do about this situation? How can we help poor kids about, you know, how can we help these poor kids have a better life and a brighter future? How can we prevent them from becoming victims and villains? Well, there is no easy or simple answer to these questions. There is no magic bullet or a quick fix either. There is no one size fits all solution. There are many factors and variables involved. There are many challenges and barriers to overcome. There are many stakeholders and actors to engage, and you and I are one of them. But I believe that one of the most important and effective ways to help poor kids is to address the root cause of their poverty, their parents. The root cause of their poverty is their parents. Let's not neglect them. Yes, Their parents parents are supposed to be seen as the first God of all children. They are the ones to be held responsible first. Now, talking about parents, the one who brought them into this world, the one who are supposed to love, protect, and provide for them, the ones who are supposed to guide, teach, and inspire them, the one who are supposed to be their role models, mentors, and friends. How many people, children, have their parents as friends, have their parents as role models, have their parents as teachers, guiders, inspira- uh, inspirers, or whatever. Let me just say inspire. I don't know whether that English is correct anyway. But how many poor kids have that? Unfortunately, many parents of poor kids are not fulfilling their roles and responsibilities. They are not planning before even having the kids in the first place. Some of them are just looking for a good bedtime romance. That's it. And then they end up having kids. And then they're questioning themselves and questioning the kids for the hardship that they're going through. And then they put all their stress and anxiety, all their pain and anguish, all their poverty on that kid. And that kid, who is the lowest of them all, the experiences all this problem, these issues. Yes, this is it. The parents are not planning. They are not planning before having kids. Look at the most impoverished places on earth where there are many kids who are impoverished. Look at their parents, the same folks. They are not planning. No planning. Wherever there is no planning before kids, this is what happens. So the parents are not even thinking about the consequences and implications of their actions, anyways. They are not considering the needs and interests of their children. They are not preparing for the challenges and responsibilities of parenthood. Yeah, they don't prepare for parenthood. They don't. They are just having kids for the wrong reasons. Parents of poor kids. They have the kids for the wrong reasons. They are having kids because of peer pressure, number one, some of them. Some of them are having because of societal norms in communities where they say children are the future and whatever, and then they don't think about the future in itself. Cultural expectations, yeah. There are some cultures you are not a man or a woman unless you have a kid. So even if you are not there yet, if you don't have the means to take care of them, if you are not psychologically, socially, financially, physically capable, they don't consider none of those factors I just mentioned. It's just a cultural expectation you need to make the babies. Some of these cultures are also a big contributing factor to world poverty. Yes. Now, talking about cultural expectations, let's look at the bigger elephant in the room, religious beliefs. Where I come from, religious beliefs are the main reason people make babies or personal desires. They are having kids because they think children are gifts from God. They are having kids because listen carefully. Oh, children are the gift from God. If they are from a gift from God and God reside in some cloud or whatever it is, why is He not dropping it like a rain on us? Why is then God not dropping the keys like rain on us? Or some of them, they also believe that because they want someone to love them. Some parents are themselves babies in the first place. They are going through. Some of them that have been isolated, not having any good family. They just want kids because they want somebody to love them, somebody to cling to them. Unfortunately, psychological part of this, or because they want someone to just take care of them when they are old. Yes, in Africa, this is it. Parents deliberately make babies even if they know they can't take care of them because they believe that the more babies they have, they might have among those kids that will come and that will take care of. It's like an investment into the future. One of them will actually, or some of them will come back to remember them in the future. They will take care of them. That is why they make them babies, believing that in the future some of them will come back to take care of them. Is that not toxic? What have you even invested in them in the first place? If you think that they are investments, what have you invested in them? What have you invested in them? Parents of poor kids, what have you invested in? By you thinking that when you are old, some of them will come and take care of you. You haven't put in the effort. Toxicity of some parents. Of course, there was this instance where people be like, oh, I want someone to carry my genes. I want somebody and to transfer my genes into the future. I mean, it's a trend nowadays. I don't know who taught them genetics that way. I don't know. What's the benefit of carrying someone carrying your genes and living in poverty? And they can easily be crushed or turned upside down, script. I don't know. They will suffer all the ills of today's world. Yeah, what's it? And then you are talking about legacy. I want somebody to carry my legacy. What legacy? Poverty legacy? Oh, I want somebody to make me happy one day. And that's the keys, the innocent keys that you haven't invested into, you haven't planned for. Okay, okay, okay. This poor, let me tell you, there's a lot of things I will talk about this poor parents. These poor parents are not having kids for the right reason. And they are not even having kids because they are willing or ready and able to raise them. They are not having kids because they have the resources, skills, knowledge to support them. And they are not having kids because they have the values, principles, and goals to guide them. They are not having kids because they have the love, respect, and commitment to nature them. They don't. And they are not having kids without thinking about the impact and effect of their decision. They are not having kids without realizing the cost and sacrifice of their choice. They are having kids without understanding the duty and obligation of their role. And that is why content like this is necessary. Again, poor, wicked parents are not having kids without being responsible. They are having kids without being responsible parents. And this is the root cause of the poverty and suffering of many poor kids. This is the source of their struggle and their hardship. This is the reason why they are poor in sorry. This is the reason why they are poor and yet still born into disadvantage and deprivation. How is the most wicked thing to do to any human? Giving birth to somebody into disadvantage and deprivation. This is the reason why the poor kids are exposed to risk and danger. This is the reason why they are denied opportunity and justice. This is the reason why they are doomed to failure. They are doomed to failure and misery. So, if you want to help poor kids, we have to help their parents. We have to educate them about the realities and challenges of parenthood. We have to inform them about the options and alternatives to having kids. We have to empower them to make informed and responsible decisions about their reproductive health and rights. We have to support them to have access to resources and use family um, resources out there and services to help them plan and have kids responsibly according to their means. We have to encourage them to have kids only when they are ready, willing, and able to raise them. We have to help them, the the parent, to become responsible parents because responsible parents are the best gift we we can give to poor kids. Responsible parents are the ones who can break the cycle of poverty and create a better future for their children. Responsible parents are the ones who can provide their kids with the basic necessities of life, food, shelter, clothing, and health care. And of course, responsible parents are the ones who can give their kids the essential tools of success. Education, number one, skills, knowledge, opportunities, responsibility, good responsibility, of course. And responsible parents are the ones who can instill in their kids the vital values of life, honesty, integrity, respect, responsibility, and compassion. Let me repeat what I just said. Only responsible parents are the ones who can instill in their kids the vital values of life. That is honesty, integrity, respect, responsibility, and compassion. Responsible parents are the ones who can love their kids unconditionally, protect them fiercely, and provide for them generously. Responsible, it is only the responsible parents are the ones who can guide their kids wisely, teach them patiently, and inspire them constantly. Responsible parents are the ones who can be their kids' role models, mentors, and friends. And of course, responsible parents are the ones who can make their kids happy, healthy, and hopeful. So, don't hate poor kids. Again, do not hate poor kids. Do not hate poor kids. I repeat. And for the third time, do not hate poor kids. They've been through a lot. They need our help, not judgment. They deserve our compassion. They deserve our compassion, not contempt. Not contempt. They want our support, not our pity. Do not pity people. They need support. Importantly, don't hate their parents either. They've made mistakes, but they can change. They need our education. They need content like this, not our condemnation. They deserve our empowerment, not our blame. They want our guidance, not our criticism. Help them become responsible parents. Help them give their kids a better life and a brighter future. Help them make the world a better place. And for those of you who come across poor kids in your life, and you, instead of supporting them, you claim you are pitying them or contending, and then you have this contempt against them. Shame on you. You are supposed to support them. You are supposed to help them. I've been in school since I myself have been through a lot, and I'm one of them. Where some of us have to wake up, or we were they need to wake us up in the middle of the night, maybe three. Let me just say at dawn 3 a.m. in the morning, and we have to wake up, clean the house, do all the house chores, cook. Sometimes, if there is food, we will not be giving money for feeding, money for transportation, no. And then we'll put on our old, dirty, old, not sometimes not even, not they are not even dirty because we can wash them. They are not dirty because there are no soaps available to clean to wash them. So you put on those old and smelly and torn and dirty clothing on, and you're gonna walk on a sometimes on a hang, on an empty stomach. You're gonna be walking for so many miles to a school under a shed or under a a, sh- a poor structure. You're gonna step into a poor structure, and yet the teachers are some of them are brutal. They are angry and bitter because they also come from same background. Some of them will put all their frustration onto you and cane you and lash you with cane. We have these canes that they normally dip into water to make it more flexible, and they are gonna whip the life out of you if you dare make any mistake in class. They'll put all their lifelong frustrations on your back. Yes. And some of these teachers have no sympathy. They do not, it's like they are totally blind to, because they also, I believe they also come from the same circumstances. So they are totally, it's like normal to them that they do not care about the poor kids. They do not spend time to actually raise these kids or educate them much. Sometimes the poor kids are in the class, but it's like they are neglected, they are not existing. They are often underestimated, looked down upon, not given much attention. Yes, not giving much attention. And when they are failing, they blame it on them. that you are failing because you are not learning. What am I going to learn when I've been through a lot? I woke up in the middle of the night doing the house chores. I'm already tired. I'm wearing a dirty clothes. I haven't eat anything. I walked so many miles. When I got to class, I'm already dirty and worn out. So impoverished, looking malnourished, skinny to the bones. And now you are in a class. What can you learn? What can you learn if you've been through all of that? And you are back to the house. You have to go through another thing. You have to walk so many miles to go and fetch water and fill tanks in at homes. And you have to sit back and cook for maybe healthy adults who are on the field working or at somewhere hustling to survive themselves. And now you have to some of them have to take care of their siblings, many siblings. And when your parents get back, they don't even get happy for the little you've done. They gonna put their frustrations on your back. They're gonna beat the hell out of you. They're gonna treat you like you are the worst human on earth, just because they are also going through their own difficulties. And yet, still, some of them, when you drop out of school and you run out of the house because you just say, no, life like this is just too much for me. And you are on the street, somebody have something to talk about you. A privileged ass have something to talk about you. They're gonna sit somewhere and say, look at those poor kids, they are thieves. They're just robbing people. Even when they are not thieves, they blame them for being thieves. So some of them end up becoming thieves because after all, that's what the name they call on them. The name they call them is thieves, drug addicts. They do drug, even if they are not doing drug, just because they look impoverished, they are torn, dirty, frustrated. So everybody blames on them. And now they say, okay, if this is what they call me, let me just do it in the first place. I am what they call. It's not good being called something you are not. So let me just be it. Yes, this is what they go through. And on the street, they can easily be picked upon. Even if they are not doing the crimes they commit, they easily get put into incarceration. Yes, they are easily imprisoned in those poor facilities, in those impoverished countries. Sorry. This is what happened. And then we blame it on them. They are unproductive maybe for society. They are whatever, they are whatever. We don't want to look into what their foundation. We don't want to look into how they come to be, what they've been through. No, we don't care about that. But we have a mouth to talk bad about them. We have the mouth and the energy and the entitlement to claim that we are disciplining them when we don't know anything about them. We don't even care. We don't even want to even care that they need help. We don't care what help they need. We just want to put them away from our side so that we can feel good about ourselves. Hedonistic to the highest level. We live in an age where people have become so hedonistic. All people are seeking for is pleasure and pleasure and pleasure. If they can't get the pleasure, then they are off. They have to do everything for pleasure. They have to use people for pleasure. They have to, take advantage of people for pleasure. They have to run system, turn system into corrupt ones just for pleasure. They do everything for pleasure. And so poor kids get used for pleasure anyways, whether sexually, whether politically, whatever. They use them to fulfill their pleasures. They make sure that they put all. Some of the people can be so animalistic, like brutal to the point that they even will catch, will corner these kids, discipline them, inflict pain onto their body, and while they cry, they feel happy and pleased. And please, how hedonistic that they are doing something good to society just by disciplining poor kids, just by inflicting pain on their body. This is what they go through. And the cycle continues. Nobody cares about them. Of course, we are not supposed to feel contempt. We are not supposed to feel pity for them. We are supposed to support them. We are supposed to help them. We are supposed to uplift them. Do whatever you can. Do what you are supposed to do in your own might. The little you can do, make sure you do it. Don't say it's too little. Don't say what I can do, I cannot do anything. You can do something. If it is food, you can give food. If it is education, you can give education. If it's a little financial support you can give for training or to feed their stomach, do it. Don't say I can't do anything. I don't have it. They are not my responsibility. They are none of my they are our responsibility because we live in the same world and the same problems persist. Guys, I do really want to stay here for long, but I think this content needs to be a standalone content. So I'm just going to keep it up here. Those of you who are going to be watching it, and make sure you share this content, like this content, and support Afriscope TV. If you want to support me, you can either look on the banner here for the link to support, or just please look underneath. The fastest way to support me is either through Remitly, you can reach out to me via my email, or reach out to me for my, how to support me. If you need guidance on how to do that, you can reach out to me via my email or contact me via WhatsApp, or look in the comment section, right? Look in the description section down here on YouTube for for the instruction on how to support this show, or to keep this good content coming regularly. For those of you watching, my supporters, my lovers, my friends and families worldwide, thank you for supporting Afriscope TV. It's not easy to be a supporter either. But thank you for being there for me. Thank you for always being there, being supportive. And for people that had a fallout uh, from me because of unknown reason, it is good to also to be transparent and let your reasons also be known. And I believe that the world is too hard to be dealing with things that are beyond us. Why don't we support each other and show each other unity genuinely? Why don't we stand up for each other? Why don't we keep doing the good work that is expected of us? I'm one of them who needed support, and you are also one of them who needed support in some way, in one way or the other. So let's make sure that we unite and be a strong force of change. This content is for all of you. I do not extract anybody, whether you are the poor parents, whether you're the poor kid, whether you are the poor kid, thank good and successful, whether you are the uh, change makers or whatever you are, make sure you keep supporting Afriscope. Thank you for watching this show once again. If you make sure you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Share it with your friends. If you have any comment or question, leave it down below. And please don't forget to subscribe again to my channel. Let's increase our reach. We need to increase our reach, and that can only happen through liking, subscribing, sharing. That's what we're gonna. We can only increase this, expand our reach by doing all of these things: liking, subscribing, and sharing. And I want to say, see you next time, and have a blessed Sunday. Bye bye.